going to talk about the Robin Hood tax and how that can fund affordable housing. We can end homelessness and stop displacement in San Francisco and the rest of the country. And Coffrey J from Hip Hop for Change did a song for us about the Robin Hood tax. So he's going to do it for us now. Here's Coffrey J from Hip Hop for Change.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah. All right. This is called the Robin Hood tax, y'all. Cali Nurses Association. Yeah. Remember the time when the school system was free? Valuing our education was the way it used to be, but now the beast grows too big to fail with all our wealth. So the people can't handle what's fair to pay for help. We had to bail them out. Quantum billions they traded for junk deals. Playing with our money now that students can't pay for lunch meals. They broke the system, but the people will have to pay. But the 1% made all the money since 2008. That's freaking great. Yo, now we can't afford not to tax them. Charge them for their financial discretion should be the maximum. Not this buck passing. Not students whose luck is crashing. A gathering of the populace minded have come for action. Enough gasping for breath with 9 times the fees on my student debts. When banks don't cry like me, they don't sigh, they don't plead. They just ride on the greed. We need a Robin Hood tax. It's time to rise up the streets. Everybody's supposed to pay the way for these people living hard in the streets tonight. You can see them. I'm just trying to get myself by. Cause living off a dime ain't an easy fight. I do it every night. Everybody's supposed to pay the way. Even people making all of this easy cash. So tell me if you think that's cool. Know that in school's time to fight for a Robin Hood tax. Yeah, they make billions, we're almost paying for nothing. It'll cost them barely a fraction. Complaining is just disgusting. This is nothing. We hunting for 0.5% of that money that's being traded while we scratching for rent. We need to invest in low-income families and their safety nets. All the social services, child care for the babies next. Take that money invested in infrastructure instead of risky derivative bubbles that spill a rupture. Been doing this since 1914, it's your thing. Corporations only hating, they aching for more green. The Inclusive Prosperity Act, in fact, a core dream of Keith Ellis and D. Working the house floor, seeing it's right there. So all we gotta do is pass it for the sake of the nations who get support could be getting acid. It's nothing drastic. It's just a dip in the pool to help these kids in the streets and keep the students in school. Yo, everybody's supposed to pay the way for the people living hard in the streets tonight. And right there, I'm just trying to get myself by. Cause living off a dime ain't an easy fight. Every night, y'all, everybody's supposed to pay the way. Even people making all of this easy cash. So tell me, do you think that's cool? No, man, it's here. Time to fight for a Robin Hood tax. 40 countries doing it now, 11 more is coming. We got Nobel laureates saying that this is surely something. Got business leaders in support in here like Warren Buffett. Countries like Brazil and Great Britain, they seem to surely love it. Surely doesn't cut that market instability. So that economic growth will be the target of your penalty. That bill will be supported by thousands of our economists. Blow up this freaking message. Time to rile up the populace. There ain't no stopping us, no. Locking up and blocking us, take back our only future. Only y'all can respond to this. It's time to get up, stand up. In the student debt, they took the people's money in no way thinking that you forget. But we didn't, hell nah, push it back. Do I have to bust a rap to get a Robin Hood tax? Bringing that hip hop for change so it's understood that we gotta flip-flop the game to bring a lot of good back. Thank y'all. Right on. My name is Coffrey J, y'all. I'm from an organization called Hip Hop for Change. Make some noise if you've heard of us. Wow, that's what's up. We're trying to take back our culture because hip-hop is, you know, it's portrayed by 3 corporations who have taken over the depiction of our culture and what we care about. And it's got a lot of people thinking that the hood is full of no-good, misogynist, materialist, people that are rich and broke at the same time. That's not us. This is hip-hop right here, so thank y'all for letting me spit, all right? Let's keep it moving. Where's Carolyn at? Where you at, sister?
Over here. There we go. This is our city hall. Let's take it. Come on.
Come there. Our city. Our city. Our
city. Of the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. Please welcome him.
Am I here by myself?
No.
Well, then I can't hear you.
No.
Am I here by myself? All right, that sounds a little better. My name is Pastor Yule Dorn. I am a civil service employee, born and raised in the Bayview District. And I currently live in the Bayview District. I serve as a social worker for the Department of Public Health and the Division of Mental Health. And we provide hope to the mentally ill and try to get them services that they so badly need in San Francisco. But just as we did with the banking and special interest 4 years ago, as you know, this is the anniversary, the 4-year anniversary of the Occupy movement, we must continue to expose the luxury housing developers, the speculators, the real estate and wealthy tech interests who now own City Hall. Since Occupy 4 years ago, the banking and the developers and the real estate finance have organized and regrouped to use more loopholes to benefit themselves through pay-to-play politics. Who's paying and who's playing? That is the question. This is the impact. The Bayview, they are further confiscating property and displacing the last remaining communities of color in San Francisco. I, like hundreds of others of my neighbors, are being pushed out by real estate speculators and Wall Street finance. After a lifetime in San Francisco, I, myself, may be pushed out. Speculators have already bought my property. But guess what? I ain't going nowhere. I am prepared to occupy my home. It's my home, and I'm staying there. What kind of city do we have? Consider this. Working class people of color make up the majority of the population of people that do the emergency services in San Francisco. God forbid if we had a disaster like happened just a few days ago in Chile with the earthquake. What happens when the emergency workers have to commute 2 hours to get the help? Do you think the speculators and do you think the finance, are they going to help you when you get hurt? No. They're going to be looking to the workers, but they are working class people of color, and they are being pushed out. We won't have anybody to turn to if there's a disaster in San Francisco. City Hall has an agenda, and it's being driven by luxury housing developers who only care about one thing, and that's profit. Just like the Occupy movement, our elected officials need to pick a side. Are you going to support the 1% or the 99%, the ones who put you in office? Who are you going to support? Are they working to end homelessness, stop displacement, and get our communities of color full-time living wage jobs? Or are they working for people like Ron Conway, realtors, speculators, or luxury housing developers? There is a lot we need to do, but we can only do it together to take back City Hall. Now, you and I, we're good individually, but I want to submit to you that we are better together. Yes. I work with ACE. ACE is the Alliance of Californians for the Community Empowerment. We are empowering the community. And there's a courage campaign that is going forth at this particular moment. To my right, there is a table, and there's a petition there to demand an independent investigation of the pay-to-pay politics in San Francisco. Our San Franciscans need to have a louder voice than the investors. ACE and its allies are focusing on Proposition I. When you hear Proposition I, think yes, yes, yes. Why in the world would you build more housing when you're not trying to preserve the people that are already here? Think about it. They're not building that housing for us. They're building that housing for the rich. And so if you vote no on that, on the moratorium on this luxury housing, you are doing yourself a disservice. So there is literature on the table about that as well. We have lost over 100,000 Black and Latino families, and waves of displacement keep coming. City Hall and the luxury housing developers and tech interest plans are only making life and cost of living worse for the neighborhoods like the Bayview. Just like the Robin Hood tax, to get the 1% to pay their fair share, we need the local policies to leverage the same investment in our communities. Won't you sign up? Don't leave here without signing up to get involved in investing in the Black community and the real affordable housing plan in the mission. We need a little time to have a voice inside City Hall. Support Proposition I and get involved today so we have a voice for our future. All right. Thank you, everybody. And when I say Proposition I, what do you say? Yes? Yes?
25 Sanchez Street and put me on.
Thank you. Tell me, did the preacher preach the truth? Yeah, all right. Last speaker, I've seen this man everywhere. You probably seen him too, because he's always at our side. He's always there. He is an ally of the people. He's a city official that truly serves the city, and he's here today. It's Supervisor David Campos.
All right, thank you, Kong. How's everyone doing today? Let me hear you. How's everyone doing today? So let me ask you, whose city is this? Our city. Whose city? Our city. You know, it's a really beautiful group of people out here. I see so many incredible organizations. Thank you to Carolyn Bowden and the California Nurses Association. Thank you, ACE. Thank you, 10-1. Thank you, Progressive Workers. I mean, thank you, everyone who's here. It is, as the pastor said, it's a very important election. We have the signature gathering for an independent investigation around ethics. We also have people trying to push Proposition I. It's a very important election for San Francisco. We're trying to stop luxury development in the mission. I see Tom Temprano, who's running for City College. We have so many things going on, but let me just talk honestly about what I think is going on. You know, I was at the Navigation Center, which I'm very proud that my office, we work with the mayor to make the Navigation Center happen in my district. And the mayor said something very interesting about homelessness. He said that we need to have more navigation centers, which I agree. I think we should have at least 5 or 6 navigation centers throughout the city. One's not enough. But then he said that he was going to create an account so that these corporations and these wealthy tech folks and folks from other industries could come in and donate money into that account. Let me say this, I welcome donations, but I think that there is a fundamental difference of opinion that I have with the mayor in terms of how you deal with corporations. When it comes to getting corporations to do right by society, it is simply not enough to ask for donations. We have to demand that they do the right thing. And I can tell you this, that these corporate interests are not going to give any money unless they have to give money. And so, I don't know about you, but I've been really scared watching what's happening at the national level. You have Donald Trump, a Republican billionaire who believes that he can buy influence, who actually is not satisfied with just having influence. He wants to be president of the United States. And the scary thing is that here in San Francisco, we have our own version of Donald Trump. We have our own Donald Trump in Ron Conway. And we know what's happening. You know, there's a rumor that Ron Conway told the Attorney General of New York that he owns City Hall in San Francisco, that he runs the show. And so you know what's happening next. It's not enough for him to be the man behind the throne. You know what's next. You're going to see Ron Conway try to run for mayor of San Francisco. You know that's coming. And so I want to send a very clear message to Donald Trump, to Ron Conway, that maybe in your own little world you do play by different rules. Maybe in Washington, D.C., you get away with setting your own rules and your own standards of what it means to behave responsibly in a society. But in San Francisco, you're not in charge. The people are in charge. Who is in charge? Who is in charge? And I want to challenge us as members of this progressive movement. And let me say this. I support the Robin Hood tax. I'm proud to be wearing my Robin Hood hat. It's actually, it's a great color. And, you know, as a gay man, I appreciate whoever did it. Great job. But I want to challenge us. It's not enough for us to support a Robin Hood tax at the federal level. How about a Robin Hood tax here in San Francisco? We are going next year into a presidential year. Let's get the voters in San Francisco to do what this building is unwilling to do to these corporations, to not just ask, but to demand that they do the right thing. Let's bring the Robin Hood tax to San Francisco, because maybe we can address homelessness finally. And then the last thing that I would say is this. It's important for us to know how we're all connected. What's happening in the mission impacts each and every one of you, even if you don't live in the mission. The fight to protect the Filipino community here in this district impacts all of us, whether you live in this district or not. The fight to recognize the suffering of comfort women is something that all of us should care about. The fact that we have a crisis in housing that is pushing trans people, people of color, is impacting all of us. And the only way that we are going to be successful if we are together. Because at the end of the day, this is our city. So let me ask you once again, whose city?
Our city.
Whose city?
Our city.
Let Trump and Conway hear it loudly. Whose city?
Our city.
Our city. Thank you.
Whose city?
Our city.
Whose city is this?
Our city.
Yes, this is our city, and it's not for sale. Our city is not for sale to Ron Conway. Our city is not for sale for Forest City. This is San Francisco, not Forest City. Like earlier, we were talking about displacement and affordable housing. I think we need to also be mindful of when we're saying we need funding for affordable housing. We need to make sure it's not going to be in the backs of community that will get displaced. We need to make sure there's true funding for affordable housing that will not gentrify our neighborhood in exchange for luxury condos next door like Monster in the Mission and Forest City's 5M project. Forest City is planning to build a 470 feet tall tower in the heart of the South Market on 5th and Mission. It is going to be taller than the Embarcadero building, and that's not what we want to see in our neighborhood. They're saying that they're going to give community benefits in exchange for these high towers. Is community benefits that real in exchange for displacing or potentially displacing over 2,200 people? Should we take that money? No. No, our city is not for sale. The community benefits for cities presentings aren't real and are divisive. They're paying off communities and they're paying off the city to make sure that, that their development will become real. In the earlier this morning, we had shared a study of how much Forest City actually had paid to play in San Francisco. They had invested over $3 million in San Francisco, one of the highest corporations to invest in San Francisco to pay to play. So we need to be mindful when we say we need parks and open space, and we need this and that for our community, because developers are dangling development agreements as a way to build and gentrify our neighborhood without thinking what's already existing there, without being mindful of how they could build without making sure that there's development without displacement in our neighborhood.
For gas is waxing, gaining. It's all off of speculation, and I guess I'm patient, but they getting the corporate welfare. Oil subsidies taking bucks from me. Golden parachutes holding autocrats. Enough war going on here for 4 Iraqs. Loopholes and tax shelters too.
A general public license, open source voting system.
And that won't take a whole room full of software engineers to figure it out.
No, the amount of code is greatly lessened, and it's a lot more elegant, so that if you put it out for viewing, it would be understandable. And the idea is, if there was something amiss with the code, it would be noticeable, which currently you would never know if there was a bug or something wrong with the code.
Like in the 2004 election, just sends shivers down my spine.
Well, we certainly went to bed thinking we had one president and woke up with another, and so
twice.
Yeah. So we don't want to ever see that again, and we want a nice, clean, concise election with sturdy results. And with the current systems, of course, you cannot achieve that. And if somebody tells you that you can, that's a liar.
Yeah, they're trying to sell you something.
Yes.
So they have now. San Francisco would be the first county to actually have open source voting the way it should be. I mean, there was talk about Los Angeles and Texas, somewhere in Texas having it as well, but there's something dodgy about the codes not being accessible enough, or what's wrong with their systems?
Well, they're announcing that they're moving toward open source systems in Travis County, Texas, and in Los Angeles County. Los Angeles is an unusual county because they have their HAVA money that I talked about at their disposal. So they've been looked at for leadership on this. We're not waiting for them. The fact is their lack of announcing general public license as their open source software gives us cause for concern, and so we and Travis County, Texas, has got Microsoft as a partner on their project. So we're not, optimistic about the chances of them taking the high road. In San Francisco, we have a good board of supervisors. They're very smart on this issue.
They're going to hear the cake. Are they going to hear it?
They are. Scott Wiener, Supervisor Wiener, has decided that this is an issue he's interested in, and we feel like that's a very strong position, as we may be in good position toward the overall board.
Well, he wants to be senator.
I think it's smart, and I think that
politicians that get on the right side of this issue will do well, and those that hesitate and don't grasp the issue properly will find history judges them poorly, because, of course, when you're talking about the keystone of democracy, we want transparency, and this is probably the most intense transparency issue, I think, out there right now.
The voting rights.
Yes.
Yes. We've got a lot, our voting rights are being threatened through gerrymandering and the district redrawing. That's why we can't get the House. We
Yeah.
can't ever win the House unless they stop gerrymandering the districts. And, let's talk about open washing. We've got 11 minutes. Beware of nuanced open source advocates who don't meet the standards of an open sourcing. We just talked about that with Scott Wiener. Now, how about, let's talk about...
well, just to clarify, Scott Wiener certainly doesn't fall into that category. What that really is addressing is those who are trying to log jam by by advocating a software code that flies the flag of open source but doesn't meet the standard. So that's why I keep referencing general public license, because that is the high ground for open source and beyond reproach.